Over the past few days, tens of thousands of emails have been sent to members of Parliament asking us to oppose the Andrews Labor government's proposed extension of the state of emergency made possible under the Public Health and Wellbeing Act 2008. From the outside, it can appear that Daniel Andrews needs these changes to protect our safety, but the Andrews Labor government's failure to yet again provide Victorians with straightforward information is turning this state of emergency into a state of confusion. The government wants to amend parts of the current Act in three ways, and these changes will significantly compromise our freedoms without significantly improving our safety. So I want to be clear with you about why these changes don't stack up. Change 1. Section 198 of the Public Health and Wellbeing Act states that the Health Minister may, on the advice of the Chief Health Officer, declare a state of emergency arising out of any circumstance causing a serious risk to public health. Here's the problem. The government wants to change the definition of serious risk to include a situation where the rate of community transmission of COVID-19 in Victoria is low, or where there have been no cases of COVID in Victoria for a period of time. So that means that even if there are low or no cases of COVID, the government will still be able to shut down businesses and lock up citizens in their homes. Change 2. Once a state of emergency is declared, Section 1991B says that the Chief Health Officer or their delegate can exercise emergency powers at the stroke of a pen if it's necessary to eliminate the public health risk. These are the sections that the government has relied upon to make us wear masks, to shut down businesses and stop us from travelling more than 5 kilometres from our home. At the moment, these emergency powers can be used if they are necessary to eliminate the public health risk. But here's the problem. The government wants to change this section so that orders can be made if it is reasonably necessary to eliminate the risk. This might seem small, but one word can make a huge difference. If something is necessary, you need to be close to 100% sure. But if it's reasonably necessary, you're making a call on the balance of probabilities. Maybe you're 60 or 50% sure. But extending lockdown directives because you're 50% sure of something could 100% guarantee that more people will lose their jobs and small businesses will be shut down for good. Change 3. The third amendment is in relation to the 6-month time limit. Currently, for good reason, Section 1987C says that a state of emergency can only exist for 6 months. But the government wants to extend this provision to 18 months. While I recognise that this doesn't guarantee that we will automatically remain in stage 4 lockdowns for another 12 months, it does mean that even if community transmission is low or there are 0 active cases, the government can keep enforcing whatever restrictions it likes without having that decision questioned. You see, the Premier and his ministers normally need to justify their actions in debates on the floor of the Victorian Parliament. This gives me and my colleagues, your elected representatives, the chance to ask questions and make contributions to how our state is run. Our Parliament, after all, is the very foundation of our democracy. But if this extension is passed, the Premier can simply ignore and avoid parliamentary scrutiny for another 12 months like he has done for the last 6 months. The Premier needs to remember that governing Victoria is his privilege, not his right. He's not a king, he's not a dictator, he's a member of Parliament whose government must be held to account when it gets things wrong. But with Daniel Andrews at the helm, the Victorian political system is being run by 8 ministers and a handful of unelected bureaucrats. And certainly not in a way that is benefiting all Victorians like you and me. You see, the Premier has forgotten the primary purpose of democracy. Government by the people. These changes to the law will instead mean government by Daniel Andrews. Now, the Andrews government may have been elected to govern, but they have not been elected to rule.